I think it sounds a little bit that she has something in her throat. Yeah, but if I'm taking it off, then I'm losing brilliance. Maybe I'm pushing. In very small steps, I'm working on these vocals. I guess they are already treated quite well, but then pushed and processed again and compressed again and whatever. They traveled a long way, and every more processing will do its damage. So, and it's just a little add-on in this track, so it just needs to be loud. And it's too loud now. Yep, I will use another compressor. I will use my favorite vocal compressor, the LA2 Silver. This is more like a little bit more smooth, it's slower. It overall brings a little more intensity, but very smooth and but very strong. A, B. It's just louder. I don't want it just to be louder. Just a bit more intense. Let's see, I was showing you the mark EQ. Yeah, this is too crazy. You hear this like high tone, it's pushing it too much. Overall, I think that it can have a little more clarity in the vocal, but comparing it, even here, it sounds a bit, yeah, it sounds not brilliant, it sounds not bright, it sounds a bit like ooh, like this, but it already has some nasty frequencies, and this is a problem which is not easy to be fixed. Maybe it's not fixable, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's a little vocal here, but you know, I love vocals, that's why I try to spend a lot of time with it. Move on to the other elements. I think it sounds good so far. Maybe I will come back to it later on. This pad here. Oh, I think my main melody has some outstanding frequencies, still just happening here, caused by filter action. Fixed. My computer is crackling a little bit. I think my buffer size is pretty small right now. The violin part. I think those two elements here, they are coming in pretty late, and I think they are having the function of some kind of lead. That's why I will group them, naming them lead group. And try to compress them. See what comes up. They have a reverb on, and I like how the LA2A compressor is treating like reverbs, because they like extending the flags. Be more here. Hear the difference. With compression, without, a little less gain. With compression, without compression. With compression, over. Yeah, it's super cool. When it comes to stereo, I think I'm trying to see if I can find some space. Oh, look, like taking off the sides, and they're right in the damn middle. And my other delay element is in. I think I have to decide here. Is my main melody like that, way in the side, or is this a lead? Because they share. And I like the leads a little reduced. Yeah, like 58%. And then pushing them by 3 dB. Switching on the drums. I do not work on all the pads. There are a lot. It's this reverse pad as well. Let me check this. I think this pad has still here we pushed too much. Let's get rid of some high frequencies with like super high frequencies with the Mark EQ. It's a very smooth way to reduce high frequencies without causing phasing and a little add-on. Is this fitting? Stereo wise, yeah, it's good. Maybe a little bit reducing on the karimba. Yeah, better. Now it's a little bit in between the main melody ping pong delay. Yeah, it's somewhere here, not occupying the sides too much. The little reverb thing here, let's check this. It's a bit cut off in the end. It's a bit. I hear this little click. This is a bit. I can't do much about it. I should need to cut it. Reducing the low frequencies to make it a little bit less affecting the rest. String pad. See what we can do here on. Oh. A little less. I mean, it's always recommended to check what really happens. Sometimes it starts phasing or it starts sounding shit. But in this case, it's just reducing the low end in the sides, which is good. Huh? Little AB. I can hear in the, this is some unmixed, mixed, unmixed. I can hear there is a one element. A few elements which are not there, so I need to check. I did not process all of them. See here, there's the plug and the plug. Yeah, this was the one I... this at the moment is like not really decided where it's the right place. Is it in the middle or is it in the sides, or just looping this? Yeah, it does not need to occupy the sides as well, because it's coming along. It's coming along with a lot of bass information. Sounds way better if it's a bit reduced in the sides. Oh yeah, same with this. I think they're on the same boat here. It's like kind of like trancey. But on the other hand, this could be pushed then. The one in the middle. Maybe this is cool. Sometimes make things a little bit louder to hear what's going on. This could be a bit more spread out. Not too much low. Not too much low end, not too many mids. Okay, without. Yeah. A bit too much low end before I reduced it. The stereo position is quite good now, especially when it comes together with the other element, because this is more in the middle, the other one's more on the sides. They haven't the same aesthetic, therefore I would make them both same color, not green again. Do it like this, assigning the color. I think this was the first big run through that track. Now it needs a little longer break, get back to the track, and then reference it. Reference with a reference track, references with another reference track, which I would have picked before, and then make the final decision and final tweaks and see what turns out in the end. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I had the chance to take a little break from my mixdown. I slept on it and I was listening to my mixdown on my couch at home. I was listening to my mixdown on my little earplugs while I was driving to my studio in the morning. And it's always a great thing to have the chance to compare the music you do, the music you mix in a complete different surrounding. I just explained to you how important it is to have your monitors, to know your headphones, to know your room, your studio, your sweet spot. But at the same time, it's very helpful to have opportunities to listen to music somewhere else, because sometimes it's like, you know, when you're walking somewhere, you're a bit in another state of mind and you will judge and you will feel music in a different way, and sometimes like problems or things are standing out or showing up more obvious than when you sit in front of your screen in your studio or in your bedroom, whatever, where you do or where you mix music. In this case, I was listening on my couch and I was listening to other music before, because I was like curating my next DJ set. So I was really into so many different mix downs and so many different tracks, and it was easy to compare what I did to what to tracks I like and to well-produced mix downs, well-produced tracks. And so some things were obvious for me, and I made my little notes on my sheet of paper and I brought it to my studio, and now I'm sitting here and I will go through all these notes. There were like 6 or 7 notes and I would like to adjust them. I mean, it's not always possible time-wise to have this stepping back kind of a situation, that I can take something to my home place, can take something out of my studio. Sometimes I have to deliver in 3 or 4 hours, but it's always recommended and it's always good, and it's what I tell my clients all the time: bring some time, at least 2 days, and not being like stressed out. I mean, sometimes you have a bad day, and when you have a bad day, your mix down will be less good than on a good day. It is like this. Like music, it's emotion. It's okay, of course, it's physics, it's techniques, it's everything else. But first of all, it's some kind of like sensibility, some kind of emotion. It's always involved. And the thing is, we will compare the finished, mixed and mastered track here to what I mixed, and we will see for sure that there will be some differences. Hopefully not technically, because that would show that I did some mistakes. But on the other hand, there will be some differences when it comes to style, feeling, taste, and things like this will be very interesting. That's why I did not compared A-B, the finished master on that track, to my mixdown, because I'm really curious where and what will be the difference. So let's go. First of all, on my little sheet of paper, I have claps noted. And the thing is, I completely forgot about the claps in this track. I think I not even touched them. And that's the case. So I found that they're a little bit too weak, and I will just add some compression. There's a little like reverb on it, and like the compression, if you put it after a reverb, it will always push the length of the reverb, the intensity of the reverb. I think it becomes a bit artificial. It becomes more an effects than some kind of like room simulation in the end. So it becomes more unrealistically. But I like it. And I use it a lot. Even when I have like an original dry signal and I add a reverb, I'm compressing the reverb in my send channel, or I compress it after the reverb in my channel. I really like it if it becomes a bit artificial, actually. In this case, it's not too much. Let's do an A-B. Here the clap, this is the compressed one. This is without. Becomes a little bit more strong. I'm pushing just like 2 dBs in level as well, because I found it was not loud enough. Yeah, better. Especially when it comes to like the clap within the ensemble of breakbeat loops. They got a bit lost in the end. I had the feeling. Now it's with the breakbeat together. Switching on, I think that could even come a little bit louder. Switching off the whole clap, that I'm listening to what role the clap plays within the breakbeat loop. Switching it on. A-B, switched on, switched off. A little bit louder, a little bit more intense. That's what I was looking for. Okay, first thing done. Next thing, I found the pads were a little bit too loud. I know there are a couple of ones, and when I was sitting on my couch, of course, I didn't know what the names of the single stems are. It was all like in my memories, so I could just remember that the first like intense pads were right on top of this group, like this background stuff group. And I found overall their pads were a bit too loud. I think it's this pad. Taking it down by 2 dB. And then I found that this pad here, this flutish pad, became a little bit too intense in the high frequencies. I already reduced like 1.5 dB here in the highs. I would do some more with my mark. EQ here. And here I pushed the stereo, just the high frequencies in the stereo. I will reduce it by half, so 3 something dB. I think they belong more to the background, so I will both of them reduce them another little portion. Yeah. Good. There were some like trancey pads or synths somewhere. I found they were still a bit too stereo and still a bit too obvious in a way. I remember that I was working on, I think this it's not the violin, isn't it? No. Maybe were like these ones. Ah yeah, I think it was this plug thing here. These like classic shigede sounds. That was the kalimba. Ah, nice, because the kalimba is on my list as well. Didn't remember the name. We'll just do it next. Here, those plugs seemed still a little bit too stereo. Just a little bit. Yeah, this one as well. This plug is pretty stereo. Yeah, I pushed it. It's too much. And I had the feeling it's a little bit too loud as well. It's this one. From the button. It should be there slightly, I think. I think this is... Let's have A-B to the rough mix, what the artist. Yeah, I reduced it just a little bit compared to the original rough mix. I think this is a good decision. I think both are sounding good now. The kalimba is just a very little moment in the break. I think it's like just 2 times, but it's important because it has some kind of like answer request function in the track. Answer request is a very, very important principle to make music interesting. You will find this with percussions, you will find this with drums, you will find this with melodic elements, you will find this with everything, with every elements appearing in music. Like a vocal can answer request with a synthesizer, a drum can answer request with a bass line. It's always like this kind of like something happens and something answers. Like the next time you're listening to music, try to analyze this. It happens a lot, and in this case we have the kalimba here, like this is the main synthesizer, and the kalimba is answering. And once again a little bit later, you know, it's like the little friend answering. This is what most people and what music is built on, like this kind of answer request principle. I found that the kalimba is a little bit too small. The friend, like the big synthesizer, the big main synth line is very huge, and the kalimba is answering very little, very shy. And in the beginning, when I was mixing it for the first time, I thought, yeah, put it somewhere, I like it in the middle. But when I was listening on the couch, when I was listening through the whole track, when I had like a picture of the whole story, I consumed it in full. I immediately understood, okay, this little friend comes 2 times in a track and is more important than I thought in the beginning it will be. So I redecide and I will spread it. It's very in the middle, and I remember that I reduced it here, the width, I reduced it, and now instead of I spread it and compared to what it was before, little friend there in the middle somewhere now comes up with stereo. I give you because the main synths, the mids are more in the middle, there's space in the sides to present the answer. And as there are just 2 times in a track, you can make more stereo here, and it's not annoying and it's not distracting. And it has more focus and it has more attention. And I think that's what I like. I listen to the second part. Yeah, it should have the same level as well as the main synthesizer. Yeah. Maybe it uses more warmth, a little bit more warmth, or more low frequency. Was a bit coldy. Here a push by push by 4 dB in the mids should make it sounding a little bit more warm. I think it's fine so far. Okay, what else on my list? Yeah, the hi-hat is still a bit too harsh. Let's have a look. I remember there were like millions of hi-hats because the percussion loops, they were including hi-hats, and there were hi-hat loops, and there were more hi-hat loops. Basically, I always prefer to have like 1 or 2 strong hi-hats, and then it's fine. Good sounding hi-hats instead of like having 10 less sounding good hi-hats. In this case, it's a bit different because there's, I think, yeah, there's this shaker here which is most present, and the shaker is in combination with this off hat making the main hi-hat feeling. So the shaker is more working as kind of like a hi-hat here. It's very straight. It's not, some shakers are, you have like 16 bars and it's always sounding a little bit different, always like very groovy, but here's a very straight shaker and it works more like a hi-hat. But as well, there is some more shaker here. I just try to find out where is the highest, the sharpest. This top loop, for example, has more hi-hat sharpness than I want. And it sounds very stereo. Overall, I found that all the percussions were sounding a little bit still too stereo. Too much stereo, and when it's random like this, it's just causing a messy feeling. Clap is very loud now. Okay. Where are the right has pretty a lot of super high. You see here, there's a cut somewhere and super highs, but we don't want that much high frequencies with the rights. I think the right is not a very sharp, not a very sharp. see, the high frequencies of the right should not touch the hi-hats here. There's another right here, just checking this. It should be the same. I think the high cuts here, they are like 22 kilohertz, and they have a lot of like more than 12 kilohertz. 12 kilohertz is pretty much the brilliance you hear. There's so much going on in this high frequency spectrum. No, I think it's not good, and it should leave. It should sound a little bit more relaxed, so I take it off. When you have too much traffic in the high frequency range, it's stressful for the ears. You need to decide very carefully what elements are filling up the frequency range from 8 kilohertz to up to like 20, because this is a very stressful area, you know, and sometimes you're losing the focus, what is going on, and then you're messing it up too much. So it's totally worth to go through all those elements and check who is busy in that range. So this is a shaker. Yeah, I don't do that much, but I will do a high shelf here. Or see, the other shaker is already doing the job. Look at the perk loop as well, has some tops. Already a cut here, cut a little bit more as well. Because this loop, it's about the congas. It's not about this, about these high frequencies. Here the hi-hat's still being busy. The shaker and this off hi-hat, they're kind of boss, and I think this offbeat here should be get to one side. I don't want too much stereo. I think those two elements are the kind of like the boss when it comes to like shaker hi-hat feeling in the track. So I make a group out of it and I call it hi-hat shaker group. And I want to show you a little tool I have, which is basically good to for mastering, but as well it is good to push stereo. Yeah, it's able to push transients, to distort transients, just the sides and the mids and whatever. It has a very nice distortion. Here it's pushing the second and third harmonic transients. It's a little bit like the overdrive, but more focused on the sides, and I think it sounds a little bit better. See, it brings in a little bit more warmth and loudness and overdrive. A little bit high frequency as well. So reducing this, as are still some not needed low end. Having this on my channel, the hi-hat and the shaker becomes a bit more push and sounds a little bit compressed. Let's see what happens when I'm adding some compression as well. Now it feels a little bit that one side is a bit too much. Let's see. It's a shaker. I don't want to have it stereo at all. It is already sounding stereo. Compare. Yeah, with my little chain here, which is quite a little like mastering chain. Compression, side information, saturation. You know, it's not really louder when it comes to the peak, just a little, but it's more intense, and I pretty much like it on hi-hats and shakers and stuff. Yeah, I like it now because when I compared, this is the rough mix. I like the stereo rough mix, my mix. Rough mix. Rough mix is a bit too harsh. It's a bit loose, and I have it a little bit more compressed, focused, same time, more stereo feeling. And the accent is more on the off hi-hat or on the off note. Okay, like it. What else? There is a lot around that percussions, because I think there are still too many percussions going on. Like, those loops are producing a lot of, like, yeah, I don't know, it sounds a bit like when you were cooking in the kitchen and there's a lot of like undefined woody and cluck cluck noises. Here, they look like, I don't know, you try to open your door with a keychain or whatever. It's like undefined stuff, which is it's charming and it's nice to have those kind of like samples within your tracks, but the rest of the track is super tight, you know? Everything's focused on this melody, and now the shakers, everything is like on point, and it makes it a little bit like, it's, yeah, you know, it's more distracting than supporting the feeling of the track. So I would like to reduce this a little bit. First off, I need to find out where it comes from. Yeah, it's here. It's this shaker loop. There's this sound in the background. It is way too stereo, and I'm wondering why I have not done this before, because this is absolutely necessary. yeah, my EQing here goes in that direction. Of course, any EQ change, it's touching the shaker, but I have shakers already. It's like just an extra shaker in that group. I think it even doesn't need it. And I think especially those high frequency are more distractful than useful. So maybe the artist will tell me later on that he likes it that way, and then we will have a little argue and I will follow his or her recommendation and wish, but this would be my offer, to have it reduced. Have a listen to the rough mix. Yeah, there's a lot of like, and even like high 4 kilohertz, 8 kilohertz. I like it more now. I think this percussion loop is a bit too much on the right side. And it is anyway a little bit too much bass in the mono, in the sides. I hear the comparison, like follow. This percussion loop has a lot of like side information, which is, it's doing something there. You know, it's when I stop this sides activities on that, everything sounds way more cleaned up. Reducing it. So now the synths, they can use the space on the sides. I like it way more. Now when we're cleaning up, my clap seems a little bit too loud. Better now. AB to the rough mix. Rough mix. My mix. No, okay. Better. Okay. The main synths just finally showed up as being a little bit too loud. This is just a quick thing. I'm not sure because the rough mix is presenting the main element. Where is it? The melody here. I will just skip to the loudest part of it. I want to do this. Da da da. Comes up here the loudest. I would like to reduce it a little bit. So a little bit means 2-ish dBs. And then let the pads follow a little bit. These pads should follow it. Because when you turn down the main element, like the main melodic element, you need to watch out what the other elements accompanying this element should sound like now. Sometimes they become a bit too loud then, so that's why I'm adjusting this a little bit. But I think it's fine now, and I do like 2 dB steps now, which is not a lot, so I can't change the whole aesthetic of the track. If you do like 6 dB change or 8 dB or whatever, you're messing everything up. Yeah, if I compare the rough mix to my mix down, I don't like my hi-hats. That happens in between, that you're walking in the wrong direction and doing any mistake, and I just have a feeling where this comes from. You see here, like in the rough mix has nice stereo on the shakers. I was like, okay, I treated the shakers quite good. I had a group and they were sounding stereo. It might be another stem, another element here, and I think, yeah, I have the shaker wood loop, and I was reducing a lot of high frequencies because I don't like this noisy sound, and at the same time I was reducing a lot of stereo on it, and it is not just the hi-hat, yeah, it is a lot of shaker as well, and this shaker, it's needed for, I guess, for the whole shaker situation here. It's very important, and when I took this off, reducing the stereo, reducing the frequencies, it is losing the drive. So this shaker loop here is needed for making it sounding good. That's why. So I'm bringing in high frequencies again. I still don't want all this like noisy sounds here, and I still want that much stereo, so I just decide to do it bass mono. But in this case I'm not using the utility. I will use the Pro Q and I will use the stereo here. I'm reducing the sides but just the low frequencies, and I go up to, let's say, 600, maybe a little bit higher, so like maybe like 900, maybe 1K. This is the difference. Like the utility is just able, if you do bass mono, it goes up to 500 Hertz. Here I can bass mono it up to whatever, so I prefer to do it like here. So here I'm reducing all this noise in the mid range, just keeping my shakers, letting them untouched. Just make sure that this kind of like rim is still a little bit present. I have to do like something in between keeping the wood sound of this click sound and reducing this noisy, crackly, whateverish loop. Yeah, I think this is good now. And it sounds like it should sound. Yeah, overall, I mean, for my taste, there's still too much of this noise within. I'm just reducing it a little bit more. I reduced a lot of the rights. The rights were a bit distracting while this other shaker was not there. Maybe I should bring it in a little bit again, a little bit more. Yeah. It's now kissing the shakers again. Not too much. Whew. Yeah, you see, a mixdown can be like going forward, going backwards, compare again, just making sure that I was not losing elements while mixing them, just resetting my point of view in a way. These are all moments you will have, and don't worry, take a step back, do things again, like make proofs, make comparisons, make A/B, whatever, make a break. Don't get nervous. This is all normal. Everything is done now. The next step will be to make an A/B with the reference track, and then maybe do some final tweaks. I don't know. Let's see. So now it's the moment to compare the reference track with the rough mix and with what I did. I'm so curious about. I told you, basically, I have a reference track picked with the same harmony, the same genre, to compare my mix down within my mixing process. This time I just compared it to the rough mix, so to the unmixed track I got delivered from the artist for a mix down. And I was waiting for that moment now because I was curious how close it gets to the finished, mastered, mixed track. And now it's the time. I will play the reference track here. It's the beginning, it's just kick, hi-hats and all that stuff. And I compare it to the rough mix. Rough mix. Already interesting. What I did on my mix was one of the last things I worked on. I reduced this noisy loop noise stuff, and it nearly disappeared in the reference track. So this mixing engineer did kind of the same decision to make focus on the shakers, to clean them out, and to clean the mids and the low high frequencies when it comes to those crackly, noisy loop sounds. Once more, compared to the rough mix. He did exactly the same, made exactly the same decisions. He or she, of course. Okay, this is my mix now. I compare my mix now to the reference mix. My mix, reference mix. Yeah, I think I left still a lot of like side informations on that drone as well. I think the drone, I slightly touched the drone. And there was this, yeah, vocally loop here. This one, yeah. What they did, they reduced the stereo. My mix. And even the volume a little bit. Yeah, good decision. I think now it sounds pretty empty. It's not too far away. I think the reference tracks sounds a little bit more cleaner. Let's move on. Let's move on. And by the way, the kick drum is not too far away from each other. I'm curious about the bass and kick drum together. This is my mix. Reference. shakers. Kind of the same. The reference track shakers sound a little bit more pushed around, I don't know, 800, 1 kilohertz. A little less high frequencies. A little bit cleaner. My mixdown has a little bit more bass warmth. Reference. My mixdown. Same with melody, same stereo informations, kind of same decisions compared to the rough mix. Yeah, hi-hats here spread out. Everything is more chaotic when it comes to stereo. My mixdown. Reference. Same direction as expected. Okay, move on to a later position in the track. Reference track. The clap sounds to me a little bit standing out. Rough mix. Way more hi-hats, way more pads in the background, like reference track way more calm. A lot of focus on the clap. Okay, my mixdown. This is my mixdown. Oh, this is the rough mix. Reference. My mixdown. Yeah, I left a lot of these pads in the background and the sides. Way less than the rough mix. This is the rough mix. Listen to the pads. I reduced them a lot. My mix. Reference. The reference tracks has the pads the most far in the background. I kept them as a more melodic element. So my decision was to keep them more present. I think this is an artistic decision. These are these decisions you made as a mixing engineer. They're not technical. They're more upon your taste. They're more upon your vision of the track or understanding of the track. These things could be discussed with the artist, of course. Now we have a moment when the vocals are in, hopefully. Let me look. Need to find it because I really want to compare the vocals. This is my mix. This is rough mix. This is reference. Reference. My mix. Yeah, I think overall vocals exact the same thing. Just the pads and the instruments are more in the back at the reference track. Yeah, if you compare here, like reference, my mixdown, it's close. It's close. Actually, I haven't expected it sounding so close. Actually. Okay, this is a break now. Reference track. My mix. Oh, okay, there are some differences. There are some more resonant frequencies. I reduced a lot. reference track. Both of us were reducing the super high resonances. This is a rough mix. Reference. In this case, I put those resonances the most. I reduced them the most. I put them the most in the background. I decided to have them less important than the original was. Now breakbeat, very interesting. It's the main instruments showing up later in the track. This is very interesting to compare. Let me check. They have been in the instruments group. They start here. This is my mix down. Rough mix. Yeah, I have them my mix down. I have them more in the middle, more present. Rough mix has more breakbeat here. Okay, reference. Oh, that's interesting. The reference mix put the main synthesizers, the main leads way more in stereo. This decision I don't follow. I like it way more when it's like in the middle, sounding very precise. I think that's the most important element. It's a lead. Maybe I put it too loud, but the reference track here sounds to me a little bit... Wait, again. Reference track compared to rough mix. Yeah, okay. Now comparing the groove part, my mix is running. Now reference. There are some high frequencies, super high frequencies, shakerish, delayish. I reduced a lot of that. Actually, I can't remember what elements could sound like this. They end here. Just isolating it. This is my mix. You hear that? That's a reference. My mix. I don't know. I don't know which element was causing this, but I think it's not necessary. It was ending just here. It was a few bars. Yeah, overall, I left more stereo information. I took off a lot of stereo information. I did a lot of like mixings, EQing activities in the sides. I did a lot of like compression. I flattened the bass. All these decisions were basically the same as the other mixing engineer did. I can spot in this master and this reference master to compare. We are quite different when it comes to the lead sound, the main lead sound in the track. I decided to have it right in the middle. I decided to have it louder, more present. In the reference tracks is more in the back. Overall, both mixdowns came pretty close to each other. I will ask Alexander, without telling him what mixdown is my mixdown, what mixdown he would prefer to mix. And I will ask him what improvements he would recommend for the preparation for the mastering right afterwards. And yeah, now it's time to save this as the very final part. Yeah, it was a pleasure so far. Looking forward what Alexander says, and then hear you later on.